Trevor Lawrence getting the dub on his birthday, 37-34. We love that. Yeah, I mean,
can't beat it. That's great.
You can't lose on your birthday.
Yeah. My birthday's always during the preseason.
You also can't lose wearing the throwback uniforms that the Jags are wearing.
That's true, too.
And those things are gorgeous.
Oh, yeah.
They got to go. I wish they would go back to those.
There's no way There's no way they could have been 0-5.
And I wish the Broncos would do the same, because both of those teams. If I got to take away from Week 5, it's wear the damn throwbacks, because they're great and you're going to win. Jags win this one, 37-34. When we take a look at the top 5 graded players for the Jacksonville Jaguars, guard Ezra Cleveland, 91.1 in this game. And then how about Trayvon Walker? One of the best games that he has had in his career. That is the highest mark of his single-game NFL career to this point, a 90.3. He was fantastic as a pass rusher as well. Wide receiver Brian Thomas Jr. Oh, it's all coming together for the young guys. Dalton in Jacksonville, 86.4. Linebacker Devin Lloyd with a 79.7. Then offensive tackle Cam Robinson with a 74.5. Trevor Lawrence in this game, 89.8. Love to see that. Unless you're a Colts fan. And for the Colts top 5s, their tight end Mo Alley Cox, he was the top guy on this team with an 87.7. Guard Quentin Nelson with an 86.0. Cornerback Samuel Womack with an 84.0. Cornerback Jalen Jones with an 80.9. Guard Will Fries, who unfortunately got hurt in this one and was placed on IR, 80.5. And then Joe Flacco. Is Joe Flacco elite? Well, this past week he was, because he got an elite overall grade, 90.0. Look at the quarterback play in this AFC South matchup. Sometimes you don't see it, but this time you absolutely did. What was the stat that told the story here, Dalton?
All right, so just a contrast real quick. Trayvon Walker had 7 pressures and 3 sacks, okay?
Yeah.
Do you want to know what the Colts' entire team had?
Less.
They had 1 pressure as a team.
No way.
1 pressure.
Look at the Jags O-line.
The entire day. Leatu Latu had the 1 pressure for the Colts.
Hell yeah, he did. Edge 1, baby.
That doesn't surprise me at all. But this Colts pass rush, look, you mentioned the Trevor Lawrence grade. He had a huge day. Brian Thomas had a huge day. The Jags offense, 37 points, all of that. The Colts pass rush was nowhere to be found. 1 pressure, a 17.9% pass rush win rate as a team. A 49 pass rush grade. Look, this season, this is a problem. Look, DeForest Buckner's hurt. There's other guys. Leatu Latu is legitimately their best edge rusher right now. He's their best pass rusher right now. And he's kind of coming along. And we think, obviously, he's going to be really good. That's why he was the first defensive player taken in the draft. But this Colts pass rush is down there with some of these other teams that we talk about that just can't. They're 29th on the season in pressure rate. They're 24th in pass rush win rate. They're 26th in pass rush grade. They have more sacks than you would think for a team that's in the bottom 5 or 6 of a lot of those things. They just don't disturb quarterbacks at all. I think it was last week was the only week that they really did against Pittsburgh, and Pittsburgh's pass protection is kind of an issue. So,
right, talk about that.
I mean, it's just a fact. I don't care what jersey you wear and what team you are. If you don't touch the quarterback at all, if you get 1 pressure all day, especially on a guy like Trevor Lawrence, you're getting nowhere. And the fact that Flacco kept them in this game, and it was as high scoring as it was, and Joe Flacco and Alec Pierce and all the big shots they were taking, they had to. Flacco grading a 90 and them losing, that's rough. That's really, really rough.
Yes.
Because they just don't even touch the quarterback. They don't even get near it.
You're hoping that Flacco gives you like a 75 grade.
Yeah, and he's like solid. Oh, it's a good backup performance. No, Joe Flacco might have played the best game of his career yesterday, and they found a way to lose.
I don't know about that. He's had some great ones.
He's had some, it's regular season. We'll stay in the regular season for that. But, I don't know if we'll ever see the Flacco fling again. But you have to at least disturb the passer in some sense,
of course,
especially a guy like Trevor Lawrence, who had been so tough under pressure. It'd been really rough for him under pressure this year, but it doesn't matter. He was out there playing 7-on-7.
You know, what I initially thought that I was going to go into this game talking about the Jags passing the ball deep down the field, right? Because I talked about how this was a top 10 offense pushing the ball down the field last year. They were top 10 in PFF grade when they were doing so. They were top 10 in attempts. They were top 5 in completion percentage on big-time throws. It was what they wanted to do, which is why when they drafted Brian Thomas Jr., certainly after the fact when I was doing more research on it, I liked to pick on draft night, but then after I found all that stuff out, I was like, this is what they want to do. They want to push the ball deep down the field, and I thought they were going to do that a lot more this season. They have, but it's been way too feast or famine for them. And so for this game specifically, when you watch Red Zone and you watch the highlights, while we were watching it live, I saw the big throw to Christian Kirk, saw the big throw to Brian Thomas Jr., and I said, oh, okay, they're really hitting the deep passes. Like, that's what I'm going to talk about with this team. They finally were hitting the deep passes. Dalton, they really weren't in this game. Their average depth of target in this game, 6.7. Is the lowest of any game this season. They only had 3 passes of 20 or more yards. Now, I named 2 of them right there. That was tied for a season low. They had 62.3% of their yards came after the catch, and the previous high was a 36.8. Now, that's where I want to kind of get into how the Jags offense was more patient this game. I think they didn't feel like they had to push it way deep down the field. Now, obviously, you're up on the scoreboard, you're hitting the big shots, so you feel like the game script is allowing you to do that. But I like that they were more patient. Yes, this is a team that wants to be more explosive, that brought in players like Gabe Davis and Christian Kirk and Brian Thomas Jr. to be more explosive, to push the ball down more vertically. But you can't take those shots every time. And I think they learned that the hard way, certainly over the second half of last season and then to start this season too. They allowed the game to come to them, and then they took their shots when it was available. The deep shot, the deep coverage for the Colts, it really was. It was a miscommunication for them in cover 3 with the Brian Thomas Jr. Touchdown. And then when it came to the Christian Kirk play, I believe it was the same thing. I believe it was either cover 4 or cover 3 where just the strong safety. Oh, actually, now I remember exactly what it was. It was a Mills concept. So same side of the field. It was a deep post paired with an in route, with an in breaker. So basically, if you are facing, and that's a cover 4 beater, because you have your outside cornerback and your safety. I'm trying to draw this in the air. So you have the outside cornerback and the safety right here. A Mills concept is the wide receiver is going up and they're going to run a post, and then the other one is going to run up and they're going to run an in. So essentially, with the post and the in, you're trying to create a conflict with a strong safety when there's 4 deep players in coverage. So the strong safety bit on the in route. And so then you have a really good angle on it with inside leverage to make sure that outside corner cannot keep up with the post route, and that's exactly what happened. So they waited to attack deep when the time was right. And that's what I love the most for the Jags, is that they were patient. And the rest of it, it was short. It was the intermediate. They were obviously the Tank Bigsby runs helped, but that's what I love the most about this game. To me, the stat that told the story is they didn't force the deep pass. But when the deep pass was something that they could call, they had the talent and they were ready for it. And I think that balance has not existed for this Jags passing offense for a long time, and we saw it this past week, and that's why I think they got the win.
Absolutely agree, and I think that's look. I've been begging for it for a month. I'm like, you'll slow this thing down. Like when they're playing the Browns and Trevor Lawrence, I think had the highest average depth of target in his career. I'm like, this is not how you get deep shots, and they're not the only team doing this. I think it's what Joe Flacco's doing so well with the Colts too, is that he doesn't force deep shots. He'll take the intermediate ones and wait for the deep shots. Unlike Anthony Richardson was forcing them down. I see several teams doing this. The faster these teams figure out that you have to set them up. Look, Trevor Lawrence is capable of making any throw on the field, but it's the easy ones that win you ball games. Mm-hmm. Make the easier ones first. You mentioned Christian Kirk. This was the first game this year that I felt like Christian Kirk was really like an impact player.
Yeah,
because he's the guy with Davis and Thomas on the outside. Kirk is the guy that sets up those deep shots. He beats you 8, 10, 12 yards at a time, right? So I've been begging for this for Jacksonville because I think their offense can be really, really good, like enough to get back in a wild card race, but they have to play like this, and they need to play better defense too. But offensively, this is the formula. Swing for the fences when they're there. It's just that's it right there. And you know what? Swing for the fences with Brian Thomas. I know a lot of
great. Man.
I know a lot of the headlines have been on that other LSU Tiger, the one for the Giants, who's
he's
been
not bad as well.
He's pretty darn good, but LSU had 2 of them, and Brian Thomas, tell you what, 5 catches, 122 yards, the big touchdown. Had another 25-yard catch that was called back on a holding penalty on the offensive line. 88.3 receiving grade over the last 2 weeks. The only player in the NFL better is Nico Collins. Brian Thomas has now been on that level, and that's the thing. It's the explosive speed, right? And it's not only the big play, but after that big play, then it's the threat of it, right? Then he can go out there and run a 12-yard curl, and people are bailing because they're backing off, right?
Yep.
And you can use him in different spots. Brian Thomas is one of those receivers who safeties, corners, whoever, they have to be aware of where he is at all times, or he's going to be behind them. And the threat of that, it's so symbiotic the way that works. Okay, we're taking too many deep shots. Let's go to Christian Kirk in the short ones. Well, now they're getting the short ones. Well, now Brian Thomas gets over the top. Well, now they're scared of Brian Thomas getting over the top. Controlling safeties and doing things like that in your passing game, this Jags offense can be really dangerous. And this this game is the blueprint. It's that exact thing. Plus, you have Gabe Davis out there can run a 4-3 also. I mean, you got 2 home run hitters. You should be able to control safeties better than almost anybody with these guys. And then you have Kirk, and eventually, was Evan Ingram back yet in this game, or was he still hurt?
Evan Ingram, I don't think he played in this game.
Once he gets back, too, you've got Kirk and Ingram both working underneath, and Brenton Strange is off to a pretty good start to his season, too. But you can create this dynamic where you've got defenses moving back and forth, and then you've got Bigsby running the ball, and we'll see if ETN can get back into rhythm here, too. They have a lot of weapons to work with. This is the way their offense should look. Maybe not 37 every week, but they shouldn't look the way that they looked the first 4 weeks. This is more indicative, I think, of their talent level.
Speaking of deep threats, though, on the other side of things, Alec Pierce had a hell of a day. He was the most impressive for me. 3 targets, 3 catches, 134 yards and a touchdown. If you want to call him one-trick pony, I don't care. 3 receptions. Right, that's a pretty damn good trick there to get 134 yards on 3 catches for a touchdown. So he was definitely a most impressive candidate, as Joe Flacco was as well, but we've kind of already talked about him. Most disappointing for me before we flip over to year 2, Jag safeties. Just not a really good day. Obviously, when Alec Pierce is catching deep balls everywhere, all over the coverage. 44.9 coverage grade as a unit, 5 plays of 15 yards or more credited against the safety group for Jacksonville. So just was not their best day at the office. They definitely need to be better within that secondary. Who's your most impressive and most disappointing?
Impressive is Brian Thomas Jr., just off to a great start to his career, and like you mentioned, a perfect fit for this team. Disappointing, the Colts. I've been saying lean on this offensive line and they'll be fine. It's a little banged up right now. Ryan Kelly was out for this game. Braden Smith the last 2 weeks hasn't played great, gave up 5 pressures and 3 sacks in this game. And that Will Fries injury is so tough to see because he was having such a great year. Look, at the top of the guard overall grades so far this year, James Daniels, who's unfortunately out for the year, Quentin Nelson, and Will Fries. It's the 3rd highest graded guard in football that they probably just lost for the season. It's really tough to see that because he was one of the breakout stars in the NFL, and I know he's a right guard for the Colts and all, but no, he was playing fantastic football. This is one of the best offensive lines in football, especially when they're healthy. It really sucks to see him hurt, especially playing such good ball. And I think it's going to be hard for them to replace him. Already missing Ryan Kelly for right now. They had the rookie Tanner Bortolini starting at center. And he did a decent job. But losing a guy like Will Fries, who was having such a breakout year, that sucks. I'll be honest with you, because this offensive line is really fun to watch when their front 5 are healthy.